This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Got some big update to share with you. President Biden sending out $200 billion. I'll let you know how that money is being spent. And a new survey just came out. 58% of Americans are now living paycheck to paycheck due to inflation. And in July, there's going to be 5 different stimulus checks worth up to $1,700 going out. I'll let you know what those stimulus checks are. And I'm going to play some shocking footage for you. I want to get your opinion on what actually happened. I'll give you some other more important updates as well. If you're having a terrific Tuesday, if you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. So I want to get your opinion on this shocking footage, and I'm not sure how to take this. So Myra Flores says Pelosi pushed daughter during photo op. Take a look at this video clip right here and let me know your opinion, what actually happened.
Nancy Pelosi elbowed this little girl during a photo op? That's the allegation from newly elected Congresswoman Myra Flores, a Republican who just won an upset victory in Texas in a special election. Flores claims Pelosi tried to shove her young daughter out of the way during her swearing-in ceremony last week, apparently as she tried to beckon somebody to join the photo.
What are your thoughts on what actually happened? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Was it pure intentions? Was it malice? Was it a Democrat issue? Was it a Republican issue? You saw it in regular time and slow motion. Let me know your thoughts on what actually happened there. So what Representative Flores said here is, I am so proud of my strong, beautiful daughter for not allowing this to faze her. She continued to smile and pose for the picture like a queen. No child should be pushed to the side for a photo op, period. So let me know your thoughts on that. What actually happened. When it comes to President Biden, the G7 rolls out global infrastructure plan. U.S. aims to contribute $200 billion according to President Biden. So what he's saying here is the partnership of global infrastructure and investment plans on dispersing $600 billion by 2027 in infrastructure investments, with President Joe Biden announcing the U.S. alone would aim to spend $200 billion in public and private partnerships. Is this a good idea? Should that money be spent here at home in the U.S., or is this a good use of the money? Let me know your thoughts. Take a look at this video clip right here explaining more.
Back to the big Sunday show. Now, while Americans are suffering with record high inflation at home, President Biden, while he's overseas, wants to spend more to help the global economy.
Collectively, we aim to mobilize nearly $600 billion from the G7 by 2027. These strategic investments are areas of critical to sustainable development and to our shared global stability. Health and health security, digital connectivity, gender equality and equity, climate and energy security.
And now, Obama's former top economic advisors, who was among the first to warn about rising inflation, says now recession will happen.
That a recession is almost inevitable. Probably a 75%, 80% chance within the next 2 years, and there's certainly a real risk that it will come sooner.
So, Lara, let me go to you on this one, and I want to point out a couple things here. Joe Biden talks about $600 billion, this PGI, over a number of years. Larry Summers says, well, maybe in 2 years we'll have a recession. At some point, if anyone looks up the definition of recession, looks at where we are now, areas of stagflation, you don't need an economics degree to see this. And Europe's the leading indicator. What do you think they're trying to sell us?
Oh, well, they're doing anything they can to sell us that it's sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows all day long. But obviously, people go to the grocery store, they go to the gas pump. Every single day, they're feeling the impact of the negative decisions made by this president, by the Democrats. They have dug us into this deep hole that we're now in. And I think you're right. The idea that a recession is 2 years away, I mean, give us all a break. It's basically here now. And I think, you know, they're really doing everything they can to try and downplay things. But when it's impacting your everyday life, Americans are not going to buy that. And I think it's kind of insulting to see our president overseas there talking about spending money for the rest of the world. First of all, printing more money. You can't just continue to do this, spend money, print money. Ask Venezuela and countries like Venezuela. Once you just continue to print money in perpetuity, then the money becomes less valuable than the paper it's actually printed on. And that, sadly, is the direction we're heading in America. So to see Joe Biden over there talking about spending money for the rest of the world when people are having a hard time getting by day to day here, I mean, it's a bad look.
You know, Nicole, if you want to be a little bit depressed, and I don't want to depress you, just open up the debt clock and look at it. The money that's being printed is also being borrowed on our children's future. Yeah. When you look at your children, you think of their future in just basic kitchen table economics.
Well, David, I graduated medical school with over $300,000 worth of debt, and I worked very hard to pay off every dollar of that debt. And I agree with you. They're continuing to print money. They're continuing to borrow. It's like Oprah is in the White House. She's like, everyone gets a car. You get this, you get this, you get this. And that's what President Biden is doing right now. But if you listen to what they're talking about, I mean, the G7 they're behind China. China's Belt and Road Initiative for the last decade, they focused on hard infrastructure. They are way ahead of us. But here they are. They're coming forth now, pledging billions of dollars to clean energy, communication, and gender equity and equality, and information regarding gender equity. So, again, this isn't a strong look for the United States. And as Laura's mentioning, all you have to do is look here in the United States. On a national level, we're not doing well. The Democrats overspent. They extended the national emergency with COVID. They've created a very lazy society of people who don't want to go back to work. And we're in real trouble here. He needs to come back home, focus on home. We're not doing well here.
And to pick up on David's point there, I also watched that entire interview of Larry Summers, and he went on to say, you know, that if we do have a recession, which he thinks is 80% likely, it's imperative to ease the pain. And he said, quoting, we need to slay the inflation dragon, and pouring more federal money at the problem is not how you slay the dragon. That's how you feed the dragon. Even these left-wing or liberal economists are saying all of this spending is what's causing this inflation. That's the problem here. And the bottom line is, go ahead, David, you just want to make sure, as they say, you cannot have too much money chasing too few goods. That's the definition of inflation.
Yeah. You know what? Let's look at the media, because that's the megaphone trace that has really bbeen pushing a lot of this. Here's what the media is saying now. I don't know if you're shocked, but I'm not really.
Look, the problem is the economy overheated.
It overheated in part because the government didn't just inject money into the economy at the start of the pandemic, but again last year.
There'll be $1,400 checks.
Approving a record $1.9 trillion stimulus while interest rates stayed at historic lows.
In retrospect, the government should not have put so much money into the economy.
Wow, in retrospect, how about the drumbeat trace? You've been in the media for a few years, haven't you? When you look at this, I mean, what were they missing? Or
listen, it's the same people who said, oh, it's transitional, right? This inflation, it's going to be a short period. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Now they're like, wow, did we miss that? Where did that train come from? It's a bad look in the media, but they're trying to catch up. They're trying to cover because they know the recession's coming. And when there's a recession on, the last thing they want to do is say, oh, man, we screwed it up. So you get ahead of it. You say you screwed it up a little bit now so you don't have to say you screwed it up a lot later.
We're going to have a lot of sound bites like after Donald Trump won in 2016 of all the people saying it'll never happen. It'll never happen. We'll have the same ones from the media.
And so what are your thoughts on that? That $200 billion going abroad, should it be spent in the U.S.? Should it be abroad? Let me know your thoughts. Next, let's talk about inflation and the stimulus check. So inflation is hitting America's middle class particularly hard, according to a Bank of America. So whether in retail stores or at the pump, consumers across all income levels are paying higher prices for goods and services. The latest CPI shows 8.6% inflation, still really high. And a recent report from Bank of America found that middle income households, those with an average of $78,000 annually as of 2020, faced an inflation impact of 9.4%, so higher than others. So yeah, inflation is really hard. If we take a look at the chart right here, you could see lowest income and middle class still getting hit the hardest. Also, another survey came out here. 58% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck after inflation spike, including 30% of those earning $250,000 or more. Can you imagine earning as high as $250,000 or more and still living paycheck to paycheck? So with inflation still near 40-year highs, more than half of all Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, according to one report, and consumers who are struggling to afford their day-to-day lifestyle tend to rely more on credit cards and carrying high monthly balances, making them financially vulnerable. Even top earners say they're stretched thin. So it looks like even people making as high as $250,000 are struggling, which is hard to imagine. What about those on fixed income or low income? When it comes to stimulus checks, let's go over the 5 different stimulus checks and direct payments worth up to $1,700 going out to millions of Americans in July. So July is just a few days away. So I'll go over these really quick. Chicago, Illinois, there are up to $150 checks going out each month. These are on transit cards. So yeah, that's going on. It's kind of like a lottery system going on in Chicago, transit cards there. And then in Indiana, up to $250 there. Refunds are $125 per individual, $250 for married couples. Iowa, up to $1,400. So this is going on in Johnson County, Iowa, a one-time stimulus of $1,400 under their direct assistance program. And then in Maine, the $1,700 checks. So these are the $850 checks for individuals, $1,700 checks for couples. And yeah, these are going out in July as well. And yeah, I thought it said one other date. Yeah, okay, so these were gonna, they should expect these checks to arrive by mid-July for the main stimulus checks there. And then Oregon sending $600 stimulus checks to more than 236,000 residents. So depending on you're eligible, you need to qualify to claim if you could claim the earned income tax credit on your 2020 tax return, then you would get a $600 check in Oregon. So those are the 5 different checks going out in July, just a few days. Yeah, that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Bella. This is the tip of the day. I just want to tell you that you should always stay happy, no matter what. Even if something really happened in your life, you should always stay, positive and happy, and, just move on. And you should always be nice to others.
Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate all of your time and support. If you appreciate how I get straight to the point, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel down below. And if you want to check out any of my other videos on my other channels, you could click up here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.